Most people think cancer comes with big dramatic signs, weight loss, lumps, pain. But for seniors like us, for people over 60 or 70, the body doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just whispers. And one of the quietest, most easily overlooked whispers is this. An itch, not just any itch, but a very specific kind of itch, in very specific places. And today I want to share with you two of those places, not to scare you, but to help you stay aware, to help you protect yourself or someone you love. Because as someone who's been through this journey, someone who's lost friends to cancer and seen what a difference early detection can make, I can tell you one thing for sure. Your body knows before the tests do. It always knows. The question is, are we paying attention? Let me ask you this. Have you ever had a persistent itch on your legs? Not the kind you get after dry skin in winter. I mean that deep, nagging itch on your shins or calves that just won't go away. You try lotion, you switch your soap, maybe even think it's your laundry detergent. But the itch keeps coming back, night after night. If that sounds familiar, don't brush it off, because for seniors, especially those of us over 60 or 65, that kind of... But here's the thing, doctors have seen this pattern again and again. Seniors diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma or other blood cancers often report one strange symptom long before any pain, lump, or fatigue shows up. A relentless itch on their legs, usually the lower part, shins, calves, front of the legs. The skin looks normal, no rash, no redness, just an itch that drives them crazy. That's not random. That's your immune system reacting to inflammation deep inside your body, caused by cancerous cells disrupting your lymphatic system. There was this man, his name was Gerald. He was 77 when I met him. Retired firefighter, tough guy. He told me about how for 6 months, his legs itched so badly he couldn't sleep. He'd wake up scratching until the skin was raw. He tried everything, eczema creams, cool compresses, even changing his sheets. Nothing worked. Then one day, he had blood work done, routine stuff, and the doctor saw elevated white cells. A scan followed. Then came the news, stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma. And here's what Gerald said to me that stuck with me forever. He said, "That itch was my body warning me. I just didn't know how to listen." And that's what this is about today, learning to listen. Because when it comes to senior health, especially after 60, the signals become quieter, subtler. Pain doesn't always show up first. The body doesn't always raise an alarm the way it used to. But the nerves, they still react. And itching, especially the kind that doesn't respond to skin treatment, might be one of the only signs you get early on. So if you or someone in your life has been scratching their lower legs every night, if they've been wondering why the creams don't work, if they're starting to lose sleep over it, don't dismiss it. Don't just wait. Talk to your doctor, ask for blood work, mention the itch, especially if it comes with any other quiet symptoms. Night sweats, fatigue, unexplained weight loss. Because sometimes it's not just dry skin, it's your body trying to tell you something. Now Layla had said talk about the second spot. And this one is even more surprising. You ready for this? It's right between your shoulder blades. Yeah, that little spot on your upper back that you can barely reach. Most people, especially seniors, blame that kind of itch on an old mattress, or poor posture, or maybe a tag on their shirt. But for some older adults, especially those in their 60s, 70s, or even 80s, a persistent itch in that exact spot has been linked to early pancreatic cancer. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. The pancreas is deep inside your belly. What's that got to do with your upper back? And I thought the same thing until I started digging into the science. Here's how it works. When tumors start growing in the pancreas, they can block something called the bile ducts. Now these are the little tubes that help your liver drain bile into your intestines. But when that drainage gets backed up, bile salts start building up in your blood. And those bile salts, they irritate your nerves. Not just any nerves, the ones along your spine and back, especially the area between the shoulder blades where your body has a dense network of sensory nerves. So that phantom itch, that crawling feeling you can't scratch properly, that could be your first warning sign. Long before any pain, nausea, or yellowing of the eyes shows up. Let me tell you about someone I met not too long ago. Her name was Linda. She was 72 at the time. She called it her ghost itch. Every night she'd wake up around 3 a.m., scratching that same spot on her upper back. No rash, no bug bites, nothing on the surface. She tried changing her mattress, bought expensive creams, even got one of those wooden back scratchers. Still, nothing helped. But then she started feeling tired. Not just tired, wiped out. So she went to her doctor and they ran some tests. Her liver enzymes came back high. That led to imaging, and they found a small tumor pressing against her bile duct. Pancreatic cancer. But because she caught it early, she had options. Treatment began right away. And the itch? That was her first and only clue. Now, does every back itch mean you've got cancer? Of course not. But here's what makes this kind of itch different. First, it doesn't move. It stays in the same spot. Second, it doesn't go away. No cream touches it, no lotion soothes it. And third, it feels like it's coming from under the skin, like something is irritated deep inside. Combine that with other subtle symptoms like darker urine, fatigue, maybe even pale-colored stools, and that's when you need to pay attention. I know how hard it is to speak up, especially when it feels like a small thing. We don't want to bother the doctor with what seems like a silly itch. But if there's one thing I've learned over the years from all the life lessons the elderly have taught me, it's this. Your instincts matter. Your body is wiser than you think. If it's whispering the same message every night, listen and act, because that's how we stay ahead. That's how we protect our independence. That's how we extend not just the length but the quality of our lives after 60. So right now, if you're still with me, if you're finding this helpful, do me a favor. Just comment below. That lets me know you're here, that these stories matter to you. And if you haven't subscribed to Elderly Reflections, now's a good time to do that. Just hit that little bell so you don't miss the next video, because the next ones go even deeper into these hidden health signs. We're building a community here of awareness, of wisdom, of support, where aging isn't about decline, it's about clarity, dignity, and truth. So let me ask you something, and I want you to think honestly about this. Have you ever had an itchy scalp? Like really itchy, but when you looked in the mirror there was nothing there? No flakes, no redness, no dandruff. Just a strange tingling or crawling sensation that kept coming back? Maybe it moved from one spot to another. Maybe it flared up in the afternoons, or at night when everything else was quiet. And no matter what shampoo you tried, no matter how often you washed your hair, or massaged your scalp with oils, it just didn't go away? If that's you or someone you care about, it's time we talk. Because while most people would never guess it, an itchy scalp with no visible skin issue can sometimes be an early sign of leukemia or even skin cancer, especially for those of us in our 60s, 70s, and beyond. You see, in the world of senior health, what used to be just a skin thing isn't always so simple anymore. Our bodies have changed, our immune responses are different, and what used to be nothing can in some cases be the very first signal that something deeper is going on inside. Now let's talk about why. Why would a blood cancer like leukemia cause your scalp to itch? It's because leukemia affects how your body regulates inflammation and immune responses. As those abnormal white blood cells multiply in your bloodstream, they start throwing everything off, especially how your nerves and skin respond to irritation. That's why the itch feels weird. It's not surface level. It's not dry skin. It's more like a burning or crawling feeling. Some people describe it as electric or prickly or just plain strange. And it doesn't respond to dandruff shampoos, oils, or over-the-counter creams. I knew a man named Henry who was 74 when he started noticing it. The itch started every afternoon like clockwork, just above his right ear. He thought maybe it was his hat. Then he changed his shampoo, nothing helped. Then one day, after a couple of weeks of feeling run down, just generally tired, he went to his doctor. Routine blood work revealed abnormally high white cell counts. Further testing confirmed it. Early-stage chronic lymphocytic leukemia, and you know what he said later? He said that itch was the first thing that told me something was wrong. I just didn't think something so small could be something so big. That story stayed with me, because how many of us seniors are out there ignoring little symptoms like that? Especially when we're told that dry skin and itchiness are just a normal part of aging. But here's what I've learned from years of listening to real seniors, sharing real stories through Elderly Reflections. What's normal is not always harmless. And when something lingers, when something doesn't get better, it's worth asking why. Gotta be clear, not all itchy scalps mean cancer. But if you or someone in your circle has a persistent scalp itch with no visible dandruff or rash, and especially if it's paired with fatigue, frequent bruising, or that just off feeling you can't quite explain, that's your cue. Don't wait, get checked. Ask for a full blood panel. Ask questions. You deserve peace of mind. And peace of mind starts with information. But that's not the only area we need to talk about. Let's move to something more sensitive, maybe even uncomfortable, but just as important. And that's persistent itching around the chest or breast area. Now I know what some of you are thinking. That can't be cancer, right? That's probably just a tight bra strap, a little sweat rash, or friction from a shirt. But let me tell you this, when the itch stays in the same exact spot and it doesn't go away, not with lotions, not with powder, not with changing clothes, it may be something far more serious. It may be the first warning sign of inflammatory breast cancer. This is one of the most overlooked cancers in older women. And yes, men too, because unlike the breast cancers that show up with a lump or obvious swelling, inflammatory breast cancer can begin with nothing more than a sensation, an itch, a tingle, a warmth. Sometimes the skin starts to look thicker. Other times it stays completely normal. But that itch doesn't quit. It's there every day in the same place. And it doesn't act like a rash or an allergy. It's deeper, more stubborn. Let me tell you about Ruth. She was 70 when it started. She told me, I thought it was just irritation from my brow. I tried switching bras. Then I thought it was laundry soap. I changed that too. Then I stopped wearing bras altogether. But that itch just wouldn't stop. For months she scratched that same spot just under her right breast. No rash, just irritation. Until one day her doctor noticed some mild skin dimpling during a routine checkup. Further tests revealed a small, aggressive tumor, growing close to the surface, but without forming a typical lump. If she hadn't spoken up about the itch, they might have missed it until it was too late. And here's something a lot of people don't know. This kind of itch can show up before anything else, long before pain, long before lumps, even before fatigue. And for men, this is especially dangerous because most men don't even consider breast cancer as a possibility. But it happens. Male breast cancer is rare, yes, but it's real. And when it's missed badly. So if you've got an itch in the chest area, around the nipple, under the breast, or even near the collarbone, and it stays in the same place, doesn't respond to skin treatments, and just keeps returning, don't ignore it, especially if it's paired with swelling, tenderness, or a feeling of heaviness in the chest. Because in older adults, that might not be skin irritation. It might be a nearby lymph node reacting. It might be a deeper signal your body is trying to send you. And let me be real for a moment. I know it's hard to bring this stuff up. We don't want to sound paranoid. We don't want to make a fuss. But I'll say this, speaking up about something that seems small can lead to catching something big while it's still treatable. And that's everything. Now, if you're still with me, if you're finding this video helpful, please do me one favor. Comment the number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet to Elderly Reflections, now's the time. Hit the bell so you'll be the first to see what's coming next. Because we're just getting started. These are the life lessons from the elderly that could change how we age, how we heal, and how we help each other. This isn't about fear. It's about wisdom. It's about inspiration. And it's about understanding what our amazing, aging bodies are trying to say before the words even form. There's one more spot we need to talk about. It's not easy to bring up, not easy to admit, and for many seniors, it's not even easy to think about. But it's important, maybe the most important one on this list, because the 5th area where persistent itching can mean something deeper, something dangerous, is the one people are most afraid to mention, the genital or anal area. Now look, I get it, nobody wants to talk about this, especially when you're older. When you were younger, maybe you joke about it or ask your doctor without too much worry. But after 70, after 75, we tend to keep quiet. We tell ourselves it's just dry skin, just aging, just irritation. We don't want to feel embarrassed or have a doctor examine us in a place we'd rather not even think about. But I'm here to tell you that silence can be more dangerous than discomfort. Because for seniors, especially those in their later years, an itch in this area that keeps coming back, despite good hygiene, despite creams, powders, or changes in soap, might be one of the earliest warning signs of cancer. Let me say that again. Persistent itching in the anal or genital region, when there's no clear cause, has been linked to cancers like anal cancer, vulvar cancer in women, or penile cancer in men. These types of cancer often start quietly. There's no lump, no pain, no bleeding, not at first. But what does show up? That itch. A burning, raw, irritated feeling that keeps returning. Not just once, not just after walking a long distance or wearing the wrong clothes. I mean every week, every night, for months. There was a man I once met named Eugene. He was 76 and had been living with what he thought was hemorrhoid irritation for almost a year. He'd tried creams, changed his diet, even bought a special cushion, but the itch never truly went away. Then one day he decided to trust his gut. He said, "This just doesn't feel right." He went to see a colorectal specialist. They ran a scope exam, and that's when they found it. a small lesion in the anal canal wall. It was early-stage anal cancer. And because he caught it early, they were able to treat it before it spread. That itch was his only warning sign, and if he had ignored it or been too embarrassed to bring it up, the story could have ended very differently. Now let's talk about women. Vulvar cancer is rare, yes, but it becomes more common after age 60. And one of its earliest signs isn't pain. It isn't even a lump, it's an itch. A recurring, stubborn itch on or near the outer genital area. Often without rash. Sometimes the skin feels a little rougher, maybe thinner, or maybe just different, a little more tender, but not enough to sound the alarm. And because so many older women associate changes down there with hormonal shifts or postmenopausal dryness, they don't say anything, they don't ask, they don't check. And that delay can cost them not just their comfort, but their lives. I remember a woman named Darlene. She was 78, very active, very bright. She told me, I assumed it was dryness. I mean, I'm nearly 80, what else could it be? But over time, the itch got worse. It felt raw, one side more than the other, and it didn't go away. She finally asked her gynecologist. They found precancerous changes in the tissue. She was lucky she caught it in time, and I'll never forget what she said to me. I almost didn't say anything. I didn't want to seem dramatic, but thank God I did. Now maybe you're hearing all this and thinking, well, I've had irritation before, it's probably just hygiene, or friction, or nothing, and you might be right. In many cases, these itches are just skin-level issues. But here's the key difference. If it lasts more than a few weeks, if it keeps coming back no matter what you try, if it feels deeper or hotter or just wrong in a way you can't explain, that's when you speak up. That's when you say, I want someone to take a look. That's when you stop worrying about modesty and you start fighting for your health. You've earned the right to feel good in your body. You've earned the right to ask questions. And if anyone tells you you're being overly cautious, you tell them this: I'd rather be safe and feel silly than stay silent and risk everything. Because the truth is, the older we get, the more our bodies speak in whispers. There's no siren, no loud symptom screaming, hey, look at me. Just a strange itch, a small change, a quiet pull at your attention. And what we do next, that's what matters. Now, as we close out this 3-part journey, I want to leave you with one simple truth. Your body is always communicating. Sometimes it speaks through pain, sometimes through fatigue, but very often it starts with something so small, so subtle that we don't take it seriously. Like an itch that keeps coming back to the same place. The 5 areas we talked about in these videos, the lower legs, the upper back, the scalp, the chest, and the genital region, aren't just random. They are places where serious internal conditions, including cancers, often begin to send their first messages. And if you're someone who wants to stay sharp, stay independent, stay one step ahead of the curve as you age, this is how you do it. By noticing the small signs, by listening, by refusing to ignore yourself. You don't need to panic. This isn't about living in fear. This is about living with clarity, with power, with the kind of elderly wisdom that says, I trust my instincts, I listen to my body, and I don't wait to get help when something feels wrong. So I want to ask you something. Are you listening to your body? Are you paying attention to the quiet things? Because you deserve peace of mind. You deserve answers. And if any of these signs sounded familiar today, don't brush them off. Bring them to your doctor. Start a conversation. Let yourself be heard. That's the most powerful thing you can do. If this video meant something to you, if it helped you in any way, please hit the like button, share it with someone you love, and subscribe to Elderly Reflections. Your support helps us continue bringing life-saving insight and heartfelt truth to the senior community. And before you go, I'd love to know, where are you watching from? What country, what city, what part of the world are you living your beautiful life in after 60, after 70? Drop a comment and let us know. Let's show the world that seniors are still here, still wise, and still listening to the stories their bodies are telling them.